Okay, we are live. We're 5 minutes early. We're 4 minutes early. And just to let you all know, especially those of you that will get the replay and anyone who's listening today, I have so many problems with LinkedIn Live and StreamYard that I will be changing the way we do this, and the webinars will be on a different platform. And I'm probably going to use my Get Response because I use that for my email, and they have a lovely webinar program included. So I am going to use that one for the next meetings, but I will make sure you're all emailed with the registration link, so that even if you can't make it live, you will always get the replays. And sometimes that's better because you've got time to pause and listen and things like that. And it does mean that I can then download them and keep them in my vault, so to speak, so that if I need to use them again, I can. And let's face it, often we forget all the content we create that can be repurposed, reused, updated, all sorts of things. So that's what will be happening. I do hope that you all understood the change of time. This is another thing about StreamYard that has driven me insane. I set it up for 10 o'clock and then for some reason it becomes 11 o'clock. And because it's linked to a LinkedIn Live, you can't actually do anything at 10 o'clock. You have to wait or delete it and reset it again, in which case it's a completely different link than the one you all signed up for. So again, technical issues. These issues happen a lot. And if there's a piece of advice I could give you all listening to this, is you have to go with the flow. It's very difficult unless you're a real techie person to get it right every time. And finding a platform that works for you is the answer. I've ummed and ahed with StreamYard over the years, and I've never really connected to it the way some people do. And I much prefer Zoom. However, it's really difficult to do a LinkedIn Live with Zoom. And I've also tried, connecting the two together, and that didn't work. And for some unknown reason, I can never enter the LinkedIn Live studio when I try to do it on the platform. So, as I was saying, find the platform that works for you, works best for you, and is affordable for you, because you can end up spending a fortune on these things. So think about how often you're likely to use these platforms and where you're investing your hard-earned cash. And I know for most people it's Zoom, and Zoom is awesome. It's amazing. It really is. And I've used it since it began quite happily, and it is very good value. However, because I use Get Response, just adding the webinar section on there is only a little bit more, and it makes far more sense for me to do that than to have Zoom and Get Response. So that's where we are. So we're about to start. So I'm going to start showing my screen, if you bear with me. Here we go. Right, okay. It's called 5 Steps to Get to the Heart of Someone's Problem. Let's put it into presentation mode so it looks nicer. Okay, now when we talk about your elevator pitch, one of the first things, last week we looked at the hook. How are you going to make people sort of lift their heads and listen to you? The next step is you have to tell them the problem you solve. You have to really understand what that problem is and be able to say it in a way that people go, oh yeah, that's me. Okay, so that's what we're looking at today. How do you get to the heart of a problem? Because a problem isn't always a problem. For instance, I've got nothing to wear tonight. It's totally untrue. Most people have a wardrobe full of clothes, so they have something to wear that night. So that isn't a real problem. The thing is, people's problems begin and ends with a feeling. So the idea that I have nothing to wear tonight is I have nothing to wear tonight that's going to make me feel ... It's all about the feelings for people. And that's where you need to get to. You need to understand how people are feeling at the point they want to work with you, and the feeling they're going to have when they've succeeded, when they've gone through that journey, because that's what people are going to be buying, the answer to that problem. And the problem isn't always as simple as you think. You have to ask the right questions. So if I'm doing my workshop, my elevator pitch workshop, and I say to somebody, well, what problem do you solve? I have to actively listen to figure out if they truly understand what the problem is. So you have to actively listen to your client. And I don't mean literally speaking to them sometimes, but really understanding where they are. So for instance, the problem may be, let's start with something like, I want a divorce. I need a divorce. I've got to get a divorce. And in that situation, with everything else going on, it's not actually that I need a divorce that is the problem that you can solve. It's I need someone who can make my divorce simple and stress-free. Because at that point, their feeling is stress. And depending how badly that divorce might be going, it's that point when, they go, I can't do this on my own anymore. I need. Okay, so remember that word, I need. Not I want, I need. I need a solicitor who will make this stress-free and easy. Or I need a solicitor who is not going to charge me an arm and a leg. I need a solicitor who understands the complications in my marriage. Okay, I need. Or it may be that you are moving house and the problem is I need to buy a new house. I need a mortgage. I need... What their feeling is, I want my own home. I want to feel settled. So what they need is, I need someone who can find me my forever home. I need someone who can help me navigate through the mortgage and buying process. I need someone to help me look for the best place for me and my family. It's the I need, right? So you have to be able to say to someone, like for instance, in my elevator pitch, the problem bit is, do you want to speak with confidence and clarity? Do you want to stop being sick before you go on stage? Do you need to be speaking about your business without the stress? So you want and need are very close, but wanting something is not the same as needing something. No, I want new shoes. I don't need new shoes. I want new shoes. Unless I'm going hiking, then I need shoes that aren't going to give me blisters. That's the distinction, the difference in the way we think. And when we're speaking this, when we're saying it to people, it really has to hit home very quickly. It may be, I need organic pet food because my pet can't take standard tin dog food or whatever it is. I need a vet who deals with cats that spit. Do cats spit? I don't know. What's the need, not the want? So looking at your business, and I work with a lot of people that work in therapy, and it's about, people say, well, I work with people who want to have a better lifestyle. Okay. But what are they feeling before they decide to buy that? Are they feeling overwhelmed? Do they need to simplify their life? Do they need to declutter? How do they feel? Because sometimes we don't know we've got the problem. Sometimes we go through life quite happily, ignoring this problem that we may have. And certainly with public speaking, people will ignore it for as long as possible. And I have to keep reminding them, and you need to be speaking about your business. You need to be standing up and shouting it to the rooftops. You need to be able to do that with confidence and with clarity. And you need to say it to the right people. Lots of needs when it comes to public speaking. So you have to dig really, really, really deep and figure out what is the need, because that's the problem. So this is about asking yourself those clarifying questions like, do you really know why people come to work with you? I'm sure you do. And I'm not saying you don't, but ask yourself that question, especially newer businesses. If business has been established a while and things are going well, you've probably done a lot of sort of key questioning and research and all that sort of stuff, talking to current clients. But if you're relatively new to this, you really have to know why people come to work with you. Now, I often talk about, I have fibromyalgia, and the amount of people that will say to me, I can cure that, I can do this, I can do that. I won't work with them because they're not addressing my need, in the sense, no one has ever said to me, I can help you reduce that pain threshold and ensure that you can live the life you want to live without being in so much pain. Or I need to come off the mountain of medication I'm on. So someone said to me, let me have a call with you because I can probably reduce the amount of pills you take without raising the level of pain you're in. I'd listen, because they would be on my wavelength. And that's all about, the whole, when we talk about marketing and we talk about the ideal client and the personas and things like that. But you really have to understand, and the amount of times I've said to people when I do the workshop, how do people feel just before they come to work with you? And they have a blank look on their face and they go, oh, good question. Ask yourself that question. Do you know where that client's journey starts? Now, often it doesn't start with the day they ring you up. It'll start long before then, when they've acknowledged something and they've tried to sort of sort it out themselves, or they've looked somewhere else for an answer, and they've gone through all sorts of things before it gets to the point when they feel something that is so painful or so needs changing or transforming, that's the point that they ring you. Now, if you can understand that journey that they take, you can probably get your message to them a lot quicker before they hit panic point. And for some people, especially in therapies, that panic point is rock bottom. For other people, it may be that, from a legal point of view, it would have kept them out of prison. It may be that that from a business point of view, they could have been making money a lot earlier. So you need to understand their journey, because that's the only way you'll know how they're feeling when they want to work with you. And you have to get to the heart of that matter really, really quickly, which is why for me, when I do my pitch, it's always, do you need to be speaking about your business? Of course you do. But speaking about it with confidence and clarity is sometimes difficult. Work with me and I will show you how you can speak in public with confidence and clarity, with less nerves and not wanting to be sick when you stand up in front of a group of people. Very succinct. I know exactly what the issue is. I know how people feel. 9 times out of 10, they'll come to me when they've been asked to do a speech or a presentation and it's the next week. That happens. But I also know that the beginning of their journey is when they start their business and they start networking, which is why I concentrate very much on that 60-second pitch, because that's the pitch that makes people sit up and listen and remember you. Empathy. Some of us have too much. Some of us have none at all. But you have to have some sort of empathy to understand where your client is, where they're standing. Do you understand, why they feel like they do? What may have happened to have made them feel like they do? Are you in a position to be able to talk to them? And again, a lot of people will come with really heart-wrenching stories. And I work with a lot of people that have gone through trauma and maybe have written a book or they've started business based on their recovery. And empathizing with them is really, really important. And they need to know that you understand. You have to be able to put yourself in those person's shoes. I know what it feels like to feel terrified to go on a stage. I know exactly how it feels. It's horrible. And I can empathize with people who really, really don't think they can do it. And I understand that's a real fear. It's not a made up fear. It's, people say, well, no one's going to die. But that's actually not how some people feel. They would rather die than walk on that stage or walk in front of that group of people. So you have to be able to empathize with whatever that problem is and be able to reach to that person's emotional part, the connection part. Remember, we're talking about speaking here, not the written word. Remember what I said? We write, we read intellectually, we listen emotionally. So you've got to get to them. So, for instance, you may be doing your elevator pitch and you talk about, I'm a solicitor and I work specifically with women going through very painful divorces, and I help them make it less painful, less costly, and less whatever. Now, there may be somebody around that table who is on that journey, knows that it's going to happen, but hadn't really thought about it. And suddenly the head goes up and they go, I need to talk to that person. That would really help me. Or my sister needs to talk to that person, or my mother needs to talk to that person. But you've got to the heart of the matter. You haven't just said, I'm a solicitor who deals in divorce. Or, as a lot of people go, I'm a solicitor. So what? And that's the thing. You never want anybody to go, so what? You want them to go, wow, I need that person. That's really interesting. I know just the person that they never, so what? So don't generalize what you do. And you may be a generalized solicitor, but in a networking, you need to pull that down even more. And it may be because they're all business people around that table that you specialize in ensuring a business is legal before you get into hot water. People need to be legal, but it does need to be simple and it needs to be understood. And then you come to, do you have the solution? Do you? Do you have that solution? And that comes down to, can you make them feel different? Can you take them from that horrible feeling here to that lovely feeling up there? Can you do that? And do they trust you to do that? And that's the thing. Do they trust you to do that? You can't just say, yeah, I can do that. They need to trust that you can. Can you outline the problem and the solution for them? So for me, it's I've outlined, you feel sick when you need to speak in front of people about your business in order to grow your business. But I can show you how to get over those nerves, how to speak with confidence and clarity, and how to earn that stage to grow your business. Okay? I can take them from here to there because, one, I know what it's like to be terrified, but I also know what it's like to be truly elated that you've come off a stage and you've wowed an audience. Plus, I have testimonials and past clients, which you may have. So you need to outline to them, here's your problem. Here's the problem. Here's the solution. You have to be able to say that with confidence and clarity. And it's the clarity bit that's so important, because they'll have heard however many elevator pitches go around that table. They may have heard 3 or 4 of people from the same industry. How are they going to remember yours? By it being really clear and really confident. And you're saying to them, listen to me. It's this simple. Da-da, da-da. That's what you need. Just take a sip while we finish this off. So, to conclude, people's problems begins and ends with a feeling. Okay, a feeling. The house falling down is a problem. Finding someone who can rebuild that house quickly and efficiently because you're so stressed is a feeling. Understand the difference, because when you're speaking to people, you're speaking to their emotions, you're speaking to engage with that emotion, and emotion comes with a feeling. You know, I hate speaking in public is a feeling. I can show you how to not hate it so much. It's still a feeling. It's about transforming that feeling from that real negative to the real positive. And that's how you get to the problem. And once you can identify that really, really clear problem, one, it makes it easier for you to tell people. So your public speaking nerves reduce. You can't forget, and you're able to just do that. And 2, it makes people sit up and listen and go, oh my God, they get me. They understand. That's exactly what I need. All right. So this week, think about, do you truly understand the problem you solve? And as always, put a comment, email me, message me, whatever, if you have a question on that, and we can see what we can do to help. If you want to have an elevator pitch with me, it's a 2.5-ish hour online, and we go through the whole thing till you have a beautiful crafted elevator pitch at the end. Not overly expensive. If you want a discovery call with me, then go to the website on the contact, and you can just book a discovery call, or we can go through it with you. But otherwise, go off and make sure you know what people's problems are. Okay. So on that note, I'm going to end there, and just remind you, we'll be on a different platform next week, and I will put it all up into the LinkedIn events thing. Okay. Just remember, you have to register to get the replay. I'm telling you that now. If you've already registered and you've been listening to these, you will automatically get those. So don't worry. But if you have not, you must register to get the replay. I can't tell you that enough. All right. So have a great day. Go off and do what you're doing. Have a great week. And I will see you all next week when we will be looking at the solution. How do you frame that solution into your elevator pitch without your whole list of qualifications and experience and everything else that people don't really actually care about? All right, then, you go and have a great day.